welcome. It's Wednesday. It's the 21st of May, 2025. I am still sick. We're day 4 of Man Flu, plugging away, still live, and it gets harder every live I do. As always, and especially today, because I am part dead. As we know, Man Flu is up there with some of the most horrific illnesses and low recovery rates in the world. I need co-hosts. One of them is late, but I have got 2 guys on time. First is Mr. Leckdog, a man that only a couple of weeks ago had the day off for Man Flu. So I'm setting the standard, part of the leadership team. I'm setting the standard. How are you, Mr. Leck?
I'm well, mate. I'm well. Happy to be here with you beautiful people talking about the Blues. Well, less happy about the second part, but the first part, being here with you two, is fantastic.
Aww. Hey, mate. Well, we always love to see your beautiful face, mate. You always make us happy. Anything new with you, Leckdog? Yeah, I can see you're in a hoodie today, like me. So obviously the cold is hitting you.
It's my new Boston Celtics hoodie, although it came after they shit the bed and Jason Tatum's ruined and next season's fucked and they're going to trade a bunch of players. But yeah, it's a good jumper, though. It's new.
Always rely on you on pepping me up. And joining us, as always, our new favourite friend, a financial genius, a man that will sell you the best car and find you the lowest interest rate for it, and manic Carlton fan, Mr. Nick Horsburgh, Horizon Finance. How are you doing?
Thank you for having me, Eric Cartman. It's good to see you. I'm sorry you're not doing well. I hope you feel better soon. Leckdog, always a pleasure to hang out with you and talk all things Carlton, be they good or be they bad. The emotional roller coaster continues, doesn't it? We were in a position where, mate, I thought we'd win the game. We needed to win the game, and we had them. We should have been 5 or 6 goals up and just seemed to freeze, and we went 5 or 6 goals up. They caught up very quickly and we ran out of legs in the end, didn't we? Again,
turned pretty quickly, like dominating the midfield, couldn't really capitalise, and then just couldn't win a clearance to save us, which is a bit of a trend with this group.
We go back to bombing into the 50, and if we're not capitalising on our inside 50s, the game shot. As soon as the pressure comes, we go defensive, and I don't like defensive Carlton at all. I wish we would just remain attacking for as long as possible. Because we can't defend when the pressure's on.
Yeah, it's like we try and lock the game down with a quarter and a half to go. It's just bizarre. But anyway.
We do have a great habit, don't we, as a football team, of like almost losing in the same way. Does anyone else feel that? Like when Carlton lose, it's almost like the same loss you've ever seen, as opposed to when you watch other teams, they get outworked in a new way.
Yeah. No, everyone plays us exactly the same way. And we either win by a couple of goals or lose by a couple of goals, and that's basically how it happens.
Great spot by Dione. My sick brain. I changed the description, not the title, but I've changed it now. I can tell you, just before I introduce him, I'll bring him in anyway before I introduce him. Did anyone else see... if you want to laugh after this show, Carlton put up some training footage today and they did like 4 little clips. And if you watch my review, I was having a big cry about every time we have a defensive 50 stoppage, Adam Sard has this uncanny ability to lose his man and have a goal kicked on him. Now, this bit of footage they've released, no word of a lie, I wish I was embellishing this story, is a defensive setup simulation, and no word of a lie. Jacob Wheatering gets the ground ball, outruns Sard, and snaps a goal. And I sent it to my mate this afternoon, and I was like, how bad's our defensive 50, Pom? ? And I was like, that bad, our key defender's kicking goals on the bloke who stops the guy running.
Mate, let's give Weedery some credit. He started his career at full forward for us, so he's got some experience. Fuck, that's awful.
Well, joining us a little bit late, but never ever, Mr. Ian Brownie, Navy Blue Corner. How are you, my friend?
Mate, very good. Yes, apologies for being slightly tardy. Just wrapped up recording a little episode with Lockie. So, very keen to keep talking the baggers. And yeah, hopefully we can fix this absolute shambles that we've got going on at the moment.
Yeah, well, I mean, to be honest, after watching that footage I've just told you about, I was thinking about making a late change and putting Jacob Wheater in as a pocket forward. I mean, I might have taken the piss out of Saad, but that finish for a guy that's nearly 200 centimetres tall was spectacular, to be fair. I thought it was Eddie Betts and a Jacob Wheater in mask.
Fuck it.
I'll have to look at what you're referring to.
Well, we can watch it later if you want. We can always watch that. I've watched it 5 times and just cried as I've watched it every time. But let's start as we mean to go on, right? We've gone with Team Pom. So a couple of things here. I've made a lot of changes because you know me. I enjoy changes. I've brought in Blake of Acres back on the wing. Reason being, I want to have some defensive protection. I thought last week putting Elijah Hollins in that wing role actually made me vomit a little bit. He looked a little bit lost. TDK straight back in. I love Pitternet, but not for me. I noticed that we've got Fantasia ready. He was a consideration. The reason wasn't is I was up until Monday's training report that said he was here. I was actually filing a missing persons report with it. So I was genuinely scared. So I'm not bringing him back too early. Fogarty, though, comes
he will play this weekend, just by the way. If he's available, Voss will pick him.
Yeah, I was worried. I was worried about that. And then you'll see I've brought in Fogarty straight away. No-brainer, because Fogarty... We need that defensive pressure. I can't see anymore us try and make that from other players. I want that to be the man who's paid to do it. Even though I hate that role, I've done it. Then you'll notice I've gone... Motlop has stayed in. I've dropped Evans and I've dropped White. White has been able to play that stay-at-home forward role, and Voss keeps tinkering with this really bizarre role with Motlop playing in the midfield or playing wherever he is. I'm playing Motlop as a sole stay-at-home forward all day, every day. That's where he is. And then Ben Camporelli, what I'm doing is Lord is going into that midfield role that Motlop is. And then Ben Camporelli is going to do that pseudo role Lord does. So like 10% of midfield time, the rest of it at half forward, get forward. So kind of like what he's doing in the VFL. And Lucas Camporelli in this team, he is playing. My sub for this game would be Lockie Fogarty. He was held over last week. You'll notice my cold brain has enjoyed Mackay so much, I put him twice. The forward pocket Mackay is Charlie Kerner. I apologise. I am doing everything at 10% at the minute. Your Pom is flagging. But that is my team. J-Sauce, I'm giving him a week no matter what. I'm not risking it. I do think maybe we brought him back too early the first time, hence why he keeps getting knocks. So just give him the 2 weeks, give him the bye, because if we've got to go into a finals run and chase and all we've got is what we've had, that's it. And they're quite small up forward. Apart from Jesse Hogan, Cadman, Callum Brown, they're more medium-sized toes. So I liked Haynes at centre-half back when he got injured this week, J-Sauce. Aside from that, try and keep the team as limited changes as possible. I will field questions from you all.
Where to begin? I like it. I mean, broadly, I like it because I'm going to have made some similar changes to you. You're sticking with Young up forward. You didn't consider swinging him back with Sauce coming out of the team?
Well, no, not really. And the reason that I didn't think about having him there, having him gone down back, is I think he looks uncomfortable. When he went down back this week, I thought he looked incredibly uncomfortable. I felt like everyone else looked comfortable. We all feel uncomfortable. But when he's in the forward line, he makes things happen. So I want him deep. I want him being a pain in the arse, getting in the eyesight of Sam Taylor, getting in the way of Himmelberg, and letting Curnow and Mackay do what they do best. And, like, no offense, but outside of Jesse Hogan, Wheaterin's going to get him anyway. I thought Haynes did very well when he went on a Marty in the second half. And he actually impressed me. And then McGovern can play loose. And that's why I've put Ollie Hollands behind the ball. Reason being, I'm very clever here. Matt Carroll defensively keeps getting caught out. So because Akers is playing that defensive role, let Ollie Hollands be that protection from that overlap run that stuns Carroll. Darcy Jones is going to be attacking that flank. If I'm Kingsley, I'm saying attack Binns, attack Carroll. He's going to come into a brick wall in Ollie Hollands eventually. So, yeah, just keep young forwards, spread them, make them defend us as opposed to us changing anything.
Cool.
Mr. Nick, any questions?
I like the way that we recruited Ben Mackay and we had the Mackay twins up forward to add some confusion. But I can see now that was Curnow and we didn't sack Charlie for his wheel around blunder, which is good. I've got Ollie Hollands in the back pocket too, interestingly. And I agree with you on Young playing forward. He's looking a lot. He plays like a small forward. He's 200 centimetres tall and he's on his knees dishing the ball out and hammering players and clearing space for Mackay and Curnow to work into. He looks well when he goes down back. As a team, we set ourselves defensive, and I think when we set ourselves defensive, we have a chance for the game to run away from us and not be played on our terms. So, yeah, hopefully Youngie gets a bit more time in that forward line, and Ben and Lucas to come in. I'd love to see it. Love to see it. Yep. An injection of youth.
Yeah, I tried to give him Ben Camporelli the similar role in VFL. I didn't want to bring him in and make him play some batshit crazy role that I've made up. So I was like, quite simply, I killed two small forwards, give Motlop the easier job, and then I'll just upgrade Lord to a bit more mid-minutes. And then the apprentice, Ben Camporelli, can do the more forward time, little bit of here and there. But I just tried to keep it simple, Let's not reinvent the wheel.
So there's a bit of talk about Motlop at the moment. How close are you from considering putting him back in the Magoos and finding a bit of form? Or do you think he's copying a bit of an unjust sort of criticism? Or where do you see his game?
I genuinely think the role he's playing is rubbish. Now, I've got a great stat for you because I've seen loads of people say, get rid of him and bring Orazio back. If you actually look at Orazio's last year play the identical role, in every metric, Motlop is beating him in that role. In every metric. So, is it Orazio's rubbish? Is it Motlop's rubbish? Or is it that role doesn't exist in any other club at all? And I'd assume it's the latter because I've tried. I can't see it anywhere else. So to answer your question, yeah, Motlop would be. If I trusted Fantasia and Fantasia had played 2 or 4 weeks in the VFL, 100%, I would probably drop him in. But just put him back where he belongs. Do you know what I mean? The forward pocket. That he started the season pretty well when he was just playing purely in the forward pocket. He had that moment. I don't understand why we've tried to change it. And if we're wanting extra midfield help, I'm reluctant to play Ben Camporelli early, but I think that role is quite easy because he has playing half forward. So bring him in, bring another mid in to play that, and we'll play one less small. I feel like we're forcing a small forward to play that role. Hopefully that answers it. Ian,
Yeah, you pretty much answered my question, but I'll try to make it slightly different in that you have been quite critical of Ollie Hollands down in defence. You've explained, obviously, it's a bit of cover for Carroll, but is it mainly there's no one else, with like a Cowan injured and Boyd injured that you're having to play Ollie Hollands back there? Would you be, if either of those were fit, would Ollie basically be playing back on the wing?
If Boyd was fit, he would be in that position, and I would have left Akers out, honestly.
Yeah.
I'm reluctant to play Akers as well, because how many shoulders is he going to pop out? Like, give it as long as we need, but I'm willing to give him that time. I'm willing. I don't mind Ollie in this kind of scenario. Like, this is kind of a necessity. I did think of Billy Wilson, but then I also thought to myself, he's only had 2 VFL standard games since he's been at Carlton, and it mirrors when Doc's been in the side and Doc's been his protection, and he's played more of an attacking halfback role. So I was like, am I going to bring him in and tell him you've worked really hard and played great football? Oh, by the way, today you're going back to that role you hated in VFL that doesn't play to your strengths. So I was like, Ollie has played this role. I like him in the back pocket as well, a bit more time and space, and do that. But it was a tough one, Ian. I'll be honest with you, because I thought I have to play him there. He's the only one there that I trust. And I don't want Carroll to play the role because his natural skill set is attacking off halfback. So give him some help. Give Carroll some help. And I think Ollie is pretty good at that help.
Oh, lovely explanation as always, Pommy.
I'll answer a couple of questions. Who's tagging Toby Green? You know what? I'm going to shock you here. We've no Callahan, we've no Brent Daniels, and no Canelio. Why I call them the GWS frauds is that they've only got one method to go. It's slingshot off the back half and move it quickly. So Toby Green isn't getting quick ball if our midfielders do the job. So genuinely, absolutely nobody. I'll put Sard to match up with him and make him defend. But if Toby Green kicks 6 goals and Wheaterin does his job on Hogan, they ain't getting the ball inside 50 enough. So I've gone with this team here. We're playing to our strengths. You're the depleted side. You're going to be chasing us for the rest of the game. So I've tried to stretch them with the additions I've brought in. I did think of my mate Pom Cotter, but I watched him very closely in the VFL, and although it did feel like I took a blue pill when he crumbed that goal in front of, and I got very excited, he's not ready. And I think it's grossly unfair for me to bring him in to play a negating role, where to me, I thought it was a bad example. The bookies have us favourites. We're at home. They've got no team. I thought a tagger would be the wrong mindset for this game. Just go with what works. And I agree with Tatum. Guaranteed, if Foss picks this team, Doc's in there. But I just didn't want to do it because I'd be a hypocrite then. And I'm not a hypocrite. But that is my team. Ian.
Speaking of hypocrites, here we go.
Take us through it, my friend.
Yes. So if JSOS is actually fit, he's in 100%, but I just don't think he is. It's always that weird part of when it's initially diagnosed and it's like, okay, he's missing this week. It's a matter of how many. And then all of a sudden it's, oh, hang on, he might play this week. I think, okay, give him a week, especially Carlton. Let's just, he's a bit of an injury-prone player, missed all of last season with an ACL. Let's not risk him. We've seen how important he is to how we play. And we've got enough cover. Like, I've thrown Young back for now just because they've got a few tall forwards, but he can kind of float. If we find out we don't need it, then he can swing forward. It doesn't change my plans too much. My main thing this week has been, okay, obvious one, DeConing in for Pitto. Apart from that, it's let's fix Jesse Motlop. It's very similar to Pommy, and part of that has been Akers comes straight into the wing role, which then allows Jackson Binns to play more of a front half, high half forward role, which he played in under 18s, and I'm surprised we kind of haven't really played him there at all. I know we discussed that a few weeks back on this show, and I like the idea of that. At the moment, there's a lot of those high half forwards that are injured. Cottrell isn't there, Chincotta isn't there, Zach Williams isn't there. All of a sudden, we've got a position of need. Let's just throw Binns there instead. It allows Motlop to play closer to home. And then that is also pretty much why Doherty is in for Silvani. Somewhat controversial, but I don't really want to bring in a youngster at this stage. None really stand out for me, and I'll be putting them in a role that I don't think is where I'd want to play them. So I don't think that's good for development. Ben Camporelli be coming in and playing not his role. Same for Lucas. So Doc is kind of my sacrificial lamb this year. If I don't have a plan for a youngster for 5 weeks or a role, well, we're not going to destroy Doc by playing him wherever he needs to be. So he can kind of play high half forward as well. All of this is basically just to make Motlop stay close to goal. And then basically Evans is out and Fogarty comes in as my sub. He could also play high half forward if you need him to. But we're struggling for players as far as who is fit and I trust. And I think at least Fogarty can play a couple of different roles in that forward line. So yeah, that's what I've gone with this week. Project Motlop is a forward pocket.
Should be a shirt. Put Motlop back on the pocket. You know what? I'll start off with the questions. Did you, when you were doing this, so you with Sam Doherty, is Sam Doherty like is he going to be like, how can I word this? Because my brain is only giving me one thing. You know, fuck it, I'll go with it. I don't care anymore. Is he going to be your metaphorical tampon? Right?
Yes.
In and out this year. Is
that
what you thought in that terms? That he's just basically the stopgap. If we have an injury, don't fuck about ruining a kid's career for a week. Doc comes in, break glass in case of the emergency type thing.
That was 100% it. And with our injuries in certain positions at the moment, I just don't think we have the depth to bring in some of these youngsters. And like we've spoken about it at length of how many times do we, you've played 3 good games of footy in the VFL, come in and play a different role in the ones. And then you play 1 or maybe 2 weeks, 1 week, then you're the sub and you're out. And it's, what is that doing for their confidence? Is that why we never develop any of these young kids? Probably. So I am so happy for Lucas and Ben now to just pretty much play out the whole season in the 2s and really earn that spot. And if Doherty keeps going back and completely dominating, I know it's not going to translate to AFL, but like I said, we're not going to kill his development by throwing him in for a week with a somewhat undefined role, potentially subbing him out. It kind of doesn't matter. So that's why he's in, because I just don't think there's a negative effect if you then drop him after a poor performance. Whereas I think if it's a youngster, it's a lot worse scenario.
Right. Love it.
And he's kind of played that high half forward role I have him in there for previously. Whereas, some of the others kind of haven't. I'm plugging them into a square peg, round hole.
Mate, he was supposed to play that role the last 2 years, and we haven't actually seen it, I think, outside of 10 minutes in a preseason game.
Whatever happened to that?
It should happen. But anyway, White is still in your team.
Yes.
Talk to me about him.
Yeah, all of these small forwards are kind of in the same boat at the moment, apart from Corey Durden. And maybe the right move is White's the sub and Fogarty's in, because I'm kind of taking away that forward pressure role. And I'm very easily talked into making that move. It's more, I just love the excitement that Will White brings. I know it hasn't necessarily been there the last few weeks, but it's probably because we haven't played any good football. And when we're not playing fast, fun, expansive football, a player like him isn't going to be brought into the game. I just think the moment he brings a bit of a spark that sometimes we need in that forward line, where maybe it's that always kind of type player, kicks a goal, grabs the jumper, everyone gets excited. And he brings that at the moment over others. So he kind of stays in for this week. But yeah, he's definitely on the cusp of out of this team.
Fair.
Nick, any questions for the big dog?
I was just going to ask you about Will White. Our small forwards seem to have gone missing of late, but you have answered that question. Kind of changed my mind about maybe my selection.
Well, that's good. I like that. I like them a bit persuasive.
Yeah, you're an influential man, Ian. But I like the team. I do agree with you about Doherty, and I have brought Doherty in for the same reason, which I'll talk about when my team's up. But like the side, Youngie down back. You're starting to warm up to Youngie down back, or is that purely Silvani's not available this week? So let's default to the default move.
Yeah, look, Young would probably be in regardless at this stage. I've been loving those just little team things. Again, there's that amazing handball and another tap on, which I think is just so important. And it's just those little things that he's becoming one of my favorite players just for doing those team-oriented little roles. And yeah, I've got him down back just because I am slightly worried, or not worried in that sense, but they've got some talls down there that, yeah, I'm concerned whether McGovern can be one of those with Riccardi, Cadman, and obviously Hogan. So he's starting down back, but I think he can swing forward if we realise we've got that all locked down.
That's easy up, isn't it? Yeah, bit of a Swiss Army knife for us at the moment. It's good.
Exactly.
We like Swiss armies. Swiss
Tom,
army.
do you
knives.
remember when we did this show and everyone told us Young was dog shit for like 4 years?
Yeah, I mean now it's Motlop and
it's just funny how it changes, isn't it?
And last year it was Ollie Hollands.
Where's Plowman?
Yeah, all you've got. Look, someone today actually sent me a message. It was one of the funniest things because he was asking me about Cody Walker, and he was like, "I get scared with Cody Walker because the fans are getting really excited." And I was like, let me tell you a little secret about Carlton fans, right? I was like, Cody Walker is like the perfect player that will have some of the worst games ever, but Carlton fans won't be able to abuse him because I was like, he fits 3 of the exclusions. 1, he'll be a top 5 pick. 2, he's got a dad that is somehow connected to the club. And I was like, and 3, the biggest thing he does is when he kicks a goal, he beats his chest. I was like, all 3 of them are cheat codes for you to never get abuse from the fans. I was like, if you can, I was like, and we've never had a player who ticks every box. So I am genuinely excited about Cody Walker because I was like, my anticipation is he never has to get double figures disposals in the midfield till about 2065 before someone complains about him.
Would you?
The Holy
he can go his
Trinity.
whole career averaging 8 disposals, and we'll love him.
Legit, he could have Cam Paulson numbers, and they'll end up blaming Motlop's nephew. Darling, that's what they'll do. It's fascinating. So, good luck to Cody. Can't wait to see Cody in. But we did talk about looking at your team. Before I start with you, though, Nick, a couple of questions in chat. No one brought in Lemmy. Did anyone contemplate bringing in Lemmy?
No, because he's been goalless for the 3 weeks leading up to this one.
Makes a lot.
I
go on.
Yeah,
I was saying I had initially dropped Charlie Curnow, and even when I had done that, he was still not in consideration. That probably tells you everything you need to know about my thoughts on Harry Lemmy.
Oh, God, I can't imagine dropping Charlie Curnow on this show.
I just heard Ian say that, and I was like, this is. I don't even want to get into it. The guy that didn't make changes is now axing Charlie Curnow. We've overcorrected.
You've broken me.
No changes. Drop them all. But no, I love it. Nick,
we just talked about a man kicking goals and beating his chest and never have to worry about life, and then we're dropping Charlie Curnow. I love it. I've seen it all. I've seen it all tonight. I love it.
You know what I mean? But Nick, take us through your team. You've run the changes. We love that.
I have swung the axe pretty hard this week after a very, very poor response last week. So for me, Carroll, after a really, really start. I don't know if it's tiredness or a little bit of a lack of confidence at the moment with a few things not going right when we're playing under pressure. But he just seems like he's just under pressure, and it is his first year in the big league. So I've just pulled him out just to give him a week's break and maybe play in the twos again. So I'm really banking and hoping that Jack Silvani is okay to play. Because he's like the master key for our backline at the moment. He's just playing that lockdown defence game really, really well, and it's I'm kind of shocked how much JSOS has improved, and I feel like I'm watching Steve Silvani out there again. The way he plays, the way he moves. So let's hope he does get up, because it almost feels like no Jack Silvani, no Carlton at the moment. Let's hope that's not. There's a good backup plan, but I'm having JSOS still in my team. The back line, it was mentioned earlier, Ollie Hollands. Yeah, literally with Boydie down and I think Carroll not sort of playing to form of AFL at the moment, almost run out. Ollie was shouting about wanting a crack in defence. He's played a few games in defence. Let's see how he goes in that back pocket, really sort of bolstering and helping get the ball out when the likes of Haynes and JSOS are there to intercept, knock it down to ground, whatever. Ollie Hollands, one thing you can't question is his endeavour. He'll do everything he can to get his head over the ball and do his best. So we need someone like that in there. McGovern is playing okay, kind of up and down. Wiedering hasn't been as consistent last week, but let's hope he finds his true self again, because he's just brilliant. I do have a question mark over Sard at the moment. I seem to be seeing a lot of Sard grabbing the ball, not really looking, just snapping it on his left as far as he can, and not really giving himself enough time to assess options. I don't know what that's all about, but I would love to see run and carry slingshot Sard back, playing his run and carry game. Walsh on the wing, Cripps in the centre. And I've brought in Akers this week. I'm hoping that after a couple of weeks off, he's got his head where it needs to be, and he's going to try hard and fight for his spot, and play on the wing. I think that White hasn't, like Carroll, really, really flashy start and really good start. He's going to be a long-term player. He's going to be he's Carlton through and through, the boy. I just think he could do with a rest. I haven't been big on Evans, and he didn't do anything to disprove my thesis. I said last week, I know he's around, but I can't see him. So I want to try a little bit more experience and just bring Fantasia into the side and see where he's at, helping out that depleted half forward line a little bit. I think Elijah Hollands is running on strong. Maybe with Fantasia and some experience there, he can get him going. Charlie Curnow, centre half forward, without doubt. Let's give him another crack down at Marvel with no wind, and let's hope he kicks a bag. He's due for a bag. Durden, Mackay, and Young. I'm resting Motlop on the bench this week. I want to see Motlop firing like everyone else does. I've got to be honest, I was almost going to pull him out and leave White in. I didn't know which one. I've just pulled White out this week and given Motlop one last chance, and I want to see him do it. I want to see him go crazy, go hungry, and play forward. Young, I've loved what he's been doing in the forward line, and I hope he gets more time up forward, because we do look a lot more dangerous with Young in the forward line, giving those 1%ers, those knock-ons, those handballs, that knocking out a defender in the contest, and leaving a bit of space for one of the biggest to come into market. TDK, no-brainer, straight back in. Like you, I love Pitnet, but apart from being a tap ruckman, what else can he do? TDK is just a little bit more helpful throughout the creating play around the ground. Chera and Hewitt just going beautifully. I've got Fogarty coming back in. Bit of versatility with Fogarty. If Fantasia is not looking up to it, you can put Fantasia on the bench and you can put in Fogarty. Cooper Lord, I'm a big rap on him. I'd love Cooper Lord to give every inside 50 if he could. I know he can't. I don't want him as a sub anymore. I want him playing more game time, because He's silky smooth and looks like he's going to be a likely type. Binns, he's been doing okay, and I've got Doherty as my sub, and that is a role I don't think he's capable of having a full game. So let's see what he can do when you need him, and you can slot him in where we need him as well. We can, see how the game's going. I just don't want the Blues to go defensive this week. I just want them to attack. Even if it's not working, keep attacking. Don't go defensive because we're shit when we do that. Slows us right down. And that is my side this week.
Pommy, sorry, Nick, I have a question for you, but Pommy, I've seen you respond to Cracker in the chat. I'm interested to see who people in the chat, they're talking about we're picking players who can't kick. I'd love to know who the alternatives are. And that's not me being a smartass. I legitimately would like to know who Cracker and Tatum think can fix our kicking woes.
I can answer it simply. They're in.
But not on our list.
And it's fascinating because the bottom 5 ranked teams have the highest contested possession rate from their midfielders in the competition. Us and Eagles go at nearly 60% contested possessions, who make the largest amount of your kicks. Then you've got to play the game style. Carlton's game style is more closer to the Eagles than it is a great side with great kicking efficiency. So if you look at the best kicking efficiency side in the league, it's the Lions and Geelong. But they also play a very expansive game plan. Ours is nowhere near to that. There's so many reasons. So, you can't just blanket it. It's one of the things that annoys me. Is he a good kick? The facts are, to make an AFL elite system in under 18s, you have to be able to kick the football. You have to be able to handball. So it's a... How do I say it? Come ill. So I'm struggling to think of a nice way of saying it. But you would have to be a dumbass, literally one of the stupidest people to ever walk the face of the earth, if you think a 5-year-old has managed to get into elite level under 13s, 14s, 15s, 16s, then go into under 18s, then play representative football, and then get picked up in the AFL draft if you can't kick. So there is different levels of kicks. So if you take someone like Lockie Neal versus Zach Merritt, totally different kicking talents. However, one is absolutely elite kicking under contest versus the other one. So that's what's totally different. So you've got to look at your system as well. You've got to look at your ability to create no pressure kicks, open field kicks. If you watch someone like Jake Lloyd, they've changed his position because teams used to put pressure on him, and then his kicking efficiency went down to 37%. Dan Houston's regarded as the best kick in the competition. He goes at 80% normally. It's fascinating that whenever he plays on the ball or whenever he plays in the midfield, whenever he plays under pressure, his contested possession rate goes above 40%. He actually drops to 35%. And then there's players like Wheaterin and players like Jack Silvani, who people say, why can't he kick well? Why can't he kick well? Well, 90% of his kicks are from a mark. So if you watch how a mark is, you have a nice little catchment zone where you're not there. The players that are really bad kicks, this is more of a game plan issue. If you had a good coach like Chris Scott, he wouldn't be asking Sam Walsh to kick the ball in a contest. He'd be playing him on the outside like Jay Clark. So, do you know what I mean? But Tatum, I'm not. I've just tried to explain it. So if you ask a question, it might be different in Australia, but in England, when someone asks a question and the person who you've asked the question obviously knows the answer, in England, we're taught to shut up and listen and then try and analyze the answer to see if it makes sense. So I'll counter it. Before you reply, do you not think Carlton play a very slow game style? Don't you think Carlton play heavily contested? We are the number one contested side in the league. We are the number. So there you've put in too much pressure on yourself. Then it means that you never kick away, so you don't create avenues. So you don't see that if we had a system that frees the players up, even though they're not elite kicks, I'm not saying they're Sam Mitchell in his prime. I think they're very average kicks. But don't you think if we had a system that allowed the players to play with freedom in a safe area where they weren't expected to be under the cosh all the time, that might not improve? Because if you watch Geelong, Brisbane, Adelaide, who are some of the best kicks in the football, they play a very, 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 very good brand of football to kick to space. We don't. So
I'm laughing
anyway,
because Tatum made a mistake and he's mentioned Daniel Hoyne in the comments, and I don't want to get Pommy on another rant. So love your team, Nick. My one question for you is about Elijah Hollins. Was fucking awful on the weekend. Why do you think the variance between his best and his worst is so high?
Good question. He's had a lot of time off with personal issues. Can it be a self-confidence thing? Is he struggling with a little bit of a yip? You don't know what's going on behind the doors of a player and how they're feeling. But yeah, when he's really good and he's leading, he's pretty damaging. He's crucial in our forward line. So let's hope he can bridge that. That gap between his best football and his worst football, and he's not far away from finding some more consistent form.
He's like a healthy Jack Martin.
Yeah, it doesn't get injured.
Yeah, he just misses for other reasons.
Yeah, let's hope he can, whatever's going on inside the young fella's head, he can sort it out and just swing the oar a bit and, steer the ship a bit steadier. Love to see that.
Love it.
All right.
Nick, I have a question. Will White.
Yes.
Will White. So Will White's game last week really worried me. And you've also got Motlop in there, who he's really worrying me as well. What would you be saying to Will White? What do you want Will White to exercise in the next couple of weeks in VFL? So he's obviously back in VFL in your system. Then he's got the VFL. What are you wanting to see from him moving forward?
I would be going back to him and saying, mate, great start. When you were playing with confidence, you're electric. You've got all the characteristics and you've got the blueprint to be a long-term Carlton footballer. Just go back, find yourself. I'm not going to give you any defined role. You show me what you're capable of and show me your best football at that level. Show us what you can do. I just think he's maybe hit a couple of contests hard, maybe had a bit more pressure on him that the opposition was maybe a little bit more Will White aware, because he was quite exciting to have in that forward line and brought the spark that we were looking for from our small forwards. And maybe I think it's confidence with players like that. It can be self-confidence. And I think he's just lost it, dropped his head, and just needs, a little bit less pressure. Go and find it again. Go and get your spark back and come back into the ones with confidence. We'll know when you're ready, son.
Love it. Love it. Ian, any questions for young Nick?
I guess on Fantasia, is he someone that you're picking for the now because no other players are kind of available in that position? Or do you see him, if he does stay healthy, being able to play a decent role in this team?
I don't think he's a long-term prospect for Carlton. I never have, never will. I like his size. He is a little bit more experienced than some of our half-forward options at the moment. With Cottrell, I mean, Cottrell's our guy. As soon as he comes back, he's ready, he's in. I don't like the look of Evans. I don't think he's strong enough. I don't think damaging enough. I haven't seen enough to warrant him, and didn't know who to replace him with. And for me, is Fantasia ready? I don't know. But if he's not ready, I've got Fogarty in there, and I know Fogarty can do it. Can they share the role so they're not suffering the intensity of 4 quarters of footy? And that's what it is. It's a shared role between Fogarty and Fantasia this week on that half forward. And you've got Doherty there that can play a few different positions, but probably not for 4 quarters. He's probably capable of 2, maybe 1 really good quarter. He's done really well in the 2s. He's showing us he's hungry. He wants it. He wants to be back in. So he's there on reserve, but it was, out of back pocket options, out of half forward options, Doherty, Fantasia and Fogarty and Ollie Hollands are that combination. You can switch them around to find the right click. Ollie Hollands can go half as well.
Yeah, love it. That's exactly my thoughts as well. So it's hard to disagree.
Out of interest, if JSOS got injured, if JSOS was unavailable to play, how would that affect the selection? Would you change it around, bring anyone else in?
JSOS wasn't there. I mean, you obvious move then would be to, Young fills that tall role. So Young goes back. I don't think he's playing his best footy back, but it's what else have you got? And you need somebody else in the forward line.
Big in Lemmy.
Let's bring in Hudson O'Keefe.
Well,
without a ruckman. Oh, you got Pitnet in the ruck. So, yeah, let's give Hudson O'Keefe a go.
Very interesting thing you've just said.
It's funny you say that. Great segue.
Or is Chincotta ready? I'd love to see Chincotta back.
Yeah. I'll go through my team. I just I saw a message from Shiny Blue in chat talking about who gives a shit about the players' personal issues, but then in the same point saying, I've probably got bigger issues. So asking people to care about your issues. And just don't compare your issues to other people. Everyone's got their own shit. Everyone tries to deal with themselves. If it affects their work, they don't have to play footy. Don't worry about it, mate. Just look after yourself.
They're still human.
Exactly. Don't try not to compare yourself to others. So my football team. So Sauce comes out if there's any question marks over him. Pitnet comes out. I miss the days of backing him Pitto every week, but he has to come out for TDK. Will White comes out of my side. So he's kicked 1 goal in the last 3 weeks. He's had 1 goal assist in the last 3 weeks. He's averaging 1 tackle in the last 3 weeks, and he's averaging 1 mark in the last 3 weeks. And the tackling and the marking was the thing that we liked about him when he debuted for those first 4 games. So for me, it's just have a rest, go back and play in the reserves, do what you did to get back in the team, and there's no reason we shouldn't be developing our players in the VFL when they need to be there. So he comes out for me. And poor old Boydie, who gets cleaned up with, a minute left or whatever it was in the game, he's out for me as well. TDK comes in to replace Pitto. With Sauce out, I'm sending Lewis Young into defence and allowing Wiedering. I'm going to say this every week. It's never going to happen, but allowing Wiedering to play a more loose role. Young can be the lockdown. They can tag team Jesse if they want. I don't mind what you do in your spare time. And then with that gap, I have liked, it didn't work on the weekend, but I actually have liked the look of the extra third tall and what that creates. And it's helped by Young. We've talked about it, all the 1% as he does. But why not? Let's bring in Hudson O'Keefe, who didn't have his best game of the year on the weekend. He was still pretty solid. And let's have him be that reserve backup ruckman to take on, I think Riccardi is the backup ruckman at the moment for GWS. Let's have him pinch it. He just has to be a tall target up forward, create some contest, bring the ball to ground, and then pinch it in the ruck. And it gives him a bit of exposure. It gives us a look at him. And particularly, looking forward, this is also a bit of a future-facing move. You want to know what he looks like at senior level before the end of the year when, if TDK is getting offered, which is what the reports are saying tonight, 5 million more from St Kilda over the length of his contract. You're going to need a ruckman because he's going to take that. So let's have a look at O'Keefe. He doesn't have to be the big job, the big main job this week, but let's just have a look at him. I've always said he's probably the perfect pairing. I've said before that his style of game is the perfect pairing for TDK, kind of a guy that can go forward. Basically Harry Mackay, but someone who can ruck. in that, they can spend a lot of time forward but still impact in the ruck.
So Rowan Marshall is what you're telling me.
Yeah, Rowan Marshall, but like a cheaper Rowan Marshall, because you want Hudson O'Keefe to be your backup. You want him to be your Rory Lobb type, who people thought was shit when he was forward, but he could go in and pinch it and create some stuff. So I want to see him in that role. I don't mind the extra tall. Chin Cotter, if he's fit, he looked like someone who missed a lot of footy in that game. And I'm actually not bringing him in to be a tagger on Lachie Whitfield. I'm just bringing him in to potentially give him some attention when he's near him, but also just to be like kind of the Fogarty role we've talked about, the pressure role, not necessarily a tagging role. And I think, Pom, we've talked about it this year, that potentially that is his role in the future. It's not that hard midfield tag. It's actually probably the forward pressure, because he does have some creativity. He does have some burst speed. He might not be ready, but I've got him there for now. And then into the back line, because I don't really want to I still want to keep using Hollands primarily as a wing that rotates into defence. So I've brought Doherty back in to be that half back. And again, he'll probably rotate around with Hollands. Primarily Doc will be in defence. Hollands will primarily be on wing, and he'll rotate. I'm really liking Binns. I know, again, he wasn't like, I don't want my wingman to be shattering records and super amazing and winning Brownlow votes, but I just think he's been solid since coming in. I want to give him more time so he can be in that rotation with Hollands, Doc, and Walsh has to be named there just to start the game. Lord plays pure mid / that kick inside 50, which we've talked about earlier. Motlop just lucks his way out of there not being many other options. Evans is exactly the same. His kick that went about 28 metres in the forward line when he was taking that set shot was awful, but I just don't know what else to do in that space, to be honest with you. And then Carroll is lucky to be in my team, but I just feel like it's pretty harsh to drop him after he's just come back in, and I'm just not really sure about Matty Carroll at this stage. So for now, he's my sub without really thinking about it, kind of as the emergency if Doc gets hurt or whatever happens. So that's the team.
I feel comfortable seeing that, because a wise man told me last year that we've never seen our Premiership ruckman. And I see Hudson O'Keefe there, like, dog, we've never seen him before.
We've never seen our Premiership ruckman, mate.
Question, though, with this, right? How do you want TDK to play? Are you wanting him... Because obviously they don't just rest on the bench, like TDK has to rest around the ground. Are you going to swing him behind the ball a little bit, like in that intercept role, and allow Hudson to really live forward? Or what are you doing with that?
That's a good question. I haven't actually, to be honest with you, I don't have an answer prepared, but I will say this, and you've heard me say it 1,000 times, is that I think TDK's best football. Like, I think at some stage... his ability to mark and his massive speckies and intercept marks always come from the defensive side. All of his hangers come from the defensive side. He's a great reader of the play, not just because his brother plays there. So I can see him going back as that spare man. And I'd much rather see a rotation where it's him behind the ball if we're trying to save the game than Harry or Charlie behind the ball if we've got another alternative ruckman in the team. And so I don't mind that shout, to be honest with you.
Mate, I love it. Mr. Nick, any questions for young Lackdog?
Yeah. Look, I don't agree with you about Carroll. I think he's going to be a superstar player for us. I mean, he's played, he was injured. He's played small amount of games in the VFL, and he's gone into the AFL, and he started off really well. I just think he's needs to go back and have a little bit more confidence. I'm not sure putting him in as sub does that. And where do you see his flexibility there and using him as a sub? Or are we just going to put him in on the half back? Or
I'll be honest with you, he was just the last man putting in. I felt like I couldn't drop him.
I still love you.
I had one spot left. And
I love you. I love your side. I would love to see Chincotta back in the side and doing Chincotta things and sparking us up. We need some players with a bit of spark, don't we? And we need our cheer squad to do more than just stand up and wave flags when we kick a goal. Like, let's get involved. Let's get some hunger and Carlton spirit back, and it can make a lot of difference. And if Chincotta comes back in the side and does some electric things, Hudson O'Keefe. I keep calling him Harry O'Keefe. Hudson O'Keefe. I've been watching him in the twos. I love how he presents in the forward line. He can be dangerous, and he's got, can be a ruckman as well, and a legitimate ruckman. It'd be good to see.
I'll give you the spoiler. Both Hudson and Chincotta aren't going to play this week because they've both had featured videos or articles written about them today. And normally we do that when it's like they're playing well enough to be considered, but we just need to give the fans something before we actually put them back in the team. So I'm not assuming that they will play, but I do like the balance with them in the team. I saw a comment before, are we too tall? It's an interesting thing because every week when the team comes out, I will tweet, need to get taller because every week we added a tall without removing one. But we weren't saying that 2 weeks ago, and we weren't saying that 4 weeks ago. But we just seem to say it when we lose. But when we win and it's looking really good, it's fine. So I actually don't even know if it's an issue. Our game plan doesn't really warrant. Like, we don't have a game plan that allows us to move with pace and speed. Our game is kick mark, and the best way to mark it is if you're taller than everyone else.
Our best footballs when we try and move it with speed. It's frustrating.
I agree. That's our best football. We just don't do it.
I know. Who's pulling those strings?
It is weird though, isn't it? Because 2023, that was like the magical thing, wasn't it? Because it hid everything, didn't it? That handball heavy game, it hid everything. Because when they did fuck up a kick, because they'd handball chained it, there was 15 players around the ball to smother it and lock it away. And then Cripps, Kennedy, and Hewitt went to work, won the fucker back, and it was nice, wasn't it? It is weird because, to Tatum's point, one of my big complaints about it is Agresta and Austin over the last 2 years. They've recruited players that would be more indicative of you're going to kick less, run more.
Yeah.
And it's like
all wing, all outside.
Yeah, and it's like inversed. It's like inversed on field. But to answer your question about being too tall, I reckon you're a Glory Hunter fan if you say Carlton are too tall. Because I lived through the Bolton era when the only player under 7'4" was Matt Wright. So
who was our best player at the time?
Yeah, do you know what I mean? So Jesus, man, like ain't seen nothing until I'm trying to work out which one's the ruck, because who's the biggest out of all these big twats? Good times. You've made me reminisce there. Do you remember Aaron Mullett? He was a proper footballer.
I remember Aaron Mullett. Did he come over from North Melbourne, or did he have a stop in between?
Yeah. Who was it? It was Garlett as well. Do you remember? We've picked like 56. There was loads of young...
Mate, you're forgetting Matt Shaw. You're forgetting the GOAT, Matt Shaw.
Oh, mate!
From the Gold Coast. He played about 2 games for us.
Yeah. You know what? I did a video. Go and check it out if you're looking at Carlton content, because it was a West Coast video, but there's a few players there that may slide to where our pick is. But I was thinking, I went through West Coast last 3 drafts, because they've been heavily rebuilding. And like, it's really identifiable what they're trying to do. And then I thought, you know what? I'm just going to go back to like the 2017 Swiss 16 draft.
Don't.
And like, I looked at the names, and what I did is I was like, I'm going to do this fairly because I can't tell where these West Coast players will be in 10 years. So let's just look at the raw data and the positionings. And I'm like, I actually can't work out what they're doing. Like, it was like we just got players in and then thought, we'll think of a game plan way down the track. But if we just get the players in,
we just sat below the salary floor. Or the salary ceiling. We didn't pay players. We saved cash. We hoped a big fish would come along, and we panic bought Mitch McGovern. But like, we were literally drafted players, I think, with the intention of them not sticking around. And it was 2 years after some drafts where our entire draft hand was out of the AFL, and every other player drafted was still playing. It was crazy.
that Matt Wright.
Anyway.
You know, Bev Tun makes that comment about Matt Wright. Matt Wright always entertains me because, like, he was by. You know, when people get upset by Matty Owis, right? And like, I'm like, but look at how he plays. Like, that's not how the modern day is. Then I look at Matt Owis and I'm like, okay, he actually does suit Carlton because we ain't going to run the ball towards him. So that makes sense. But then I look at Matt Wright and Matt Wright is everything we want, isn't he? Because he worked high up the ground, he marked, he crumbed. But then when we got rid of him as well, and he became the small forward coach, Adelaide's development team as well while he played, it's absolutely heartbreaking that we don't have Matt Wright teaching the smalls. Because was there a better player we've ever had that got the most out of himself? Like, you look at Matt Wright and what he did. What a fucking footballer.
What a great delisted free agent signing he was. I literally still remember where I was when we signed him. I was so excited. I was in Spartan's gym in Kilsyth.
I love that. Tatum, the video goes up tomorrow with Carlton, but I don't mind the player you're referring to, Jacob Newton. I'm a big Sam Toner boy, though, and I was in the draft. He was in my Carlton selections. But, I mean, hopefully we can get him. But that is a good team, Lack. Have you got any questions for him, Ian?
Maybe one. You've said like Chincotta's come in for like the pressure role, but Evans is still in the team, and that's kind of the role he's played. Are you keeping him in to play more small forward traditionally? And where was sort of Fogarty in your calculations if you're looking to potentially drop one of Evans or Motlop?
I just didn't think Fogarty would come straight in, to be honest. But he'd be close. He'd probably come in over Evans. But then you got to change the Chincotta role. Evans, I'm just give me a look at him as a let's just play him in this place on the field where a small forward would usually stand, and let's just see what happens. Let's just stand him beneath, like in this world, O'Keefe or Mackay. You just follow them, and we'll just see what happens. That would be my intention. Just like, let's accidentally see if a small forward works in this team.
They really need to do some sort of drill where it's like there's like a rope tied between you, and it's like this is as far away as you can be at all times, and that is what we eventually do on game day. Not you're on the wing for the entire game.
Yeah, I'd love to just give me some crumbing. I would just the things I would do for a crummer.
Mate, I'm with you. Did you see Chincotta's crumb goal, though?
Yeah, that's why he's in, mate. That's why he's in the fucking team.
Like honestly, I you know who he reminded me of with that goal? Do you remember Dennis Armfield? Fuck you, you're making me reminisce now. Dennis Armfield, he was good.
Yeah. I have a lot of Facebook memories when, like, I check, they come up every day or whenever you go online, and I've got so many that are just Dennis fucking Armfield, and sometimes they were angry and sometimes they were happy, but Dennis fucking Armfield has been posted a lot.
I wonder what our top 10 small forwards, we'll just quickly do it now. Just name me a top 10 small forward, chat, since 2010. Let's go for him. So we'll have, the return of Eddie Betts.
I won't spoil it, but statistically, he was one of our best small forwards. I did the numbers a couple of years ago, even when he was old and not performing particularly well.
I'd say Eddie Betts, Matty Wright. So the last 10 years, 2015 we'll go from. Matty Wright. Armfield probably sneaks in, doesn't he?
Yeah, if he's a small forward, I'm not.
Jeff Garlett is in there. Last 10 years,
we go back to 2013 area. We'll put Jeff Garlett in there.
This is looking bleak now, isn't it? Because
I've got think about it.
I've got 2 names before Cam Paulson gets a shout.
Jed Lamb, he's around there.
Owies would be in there. Yeah,
Owies would have to be in there. Yeah.
So we're on 5.
It's grim.
Frankie Evans. Probably 12. He's probably
it's tough.
That one game of Troy Menzel.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, Troy Menzel. Loved him.
You know what's weird? What is really weird is you actually look at our list management as well. Great story about Nick Austin. If you go back to the Cody Waitman draft, right? And that is a big one. If you go back to that, that is probably the last draft, a draft that I enjoyed. That was before the AFL just told the media who they were taking. So it no longer was fun anymore for anyone. And they just had these contractual agreements. And we pretended that people guessed the draft as opposed to being told it. But when Cody Waitman went pick 15, that was like a huge shock in the AFL world because a genuine small forward, a guy that hadn't played anywhere else but forward pocket, was taken in the first rounder. And there was articles that said like Nick Austin had lost his mind, like had ruined the build at the Dogs. I do find it genuinely fascinating that, all due respect to Nick Austin, he's been at Carlton like 3 years and just doesn't pick small forwards. When
He gets
you
them
would
all
say-
as SSP instead.
Yeah, but you just think his eye is obviously pretty good at finding the diamond in the rough small forward, and we've never got one. I don't get it.
I'm just going back to 2015, and like we barely have smalls that have kicked double figures, double digits every year. Like Matt Wright led our goal kicking in 2016 with 22 goals.
I remember doing the deep dive, like Dog. So I can't remember the video because it was 2 years ago. But I remember that if you actually looked at players with elite tackles inside 50 over the last 10 years, I know number 2 was Josh DeLuca. And it was absolutely hilarious to me that we literally had a guy that played 6 games and he was one of like 7 players in 10 years that was ranked AFL average or more for tackle pressure. I was like, Jesus, what have we been doing?
I don't miss bringing in a small midfielder and making them a small forward. That was always
Mickey
fun.
Gibbons represent.
Oh, Gibbons, yeah.
Yeah.
Fuck.
What
I remember that
times.
as well. Do you remember inside midfielder won every award at VFL and he debuted for Carlton in the forward pocket?
Let's never try it.
I remember
midfield.
lots of full forward Michael Gibbons moments.
Oh, that Gold Coast
dude,
game still
honestly,
gives
the outside of Matt Owies and Eddie Betts, it's like you'll get an Ed Kerno kick 10 goals in 1 year or a Dennis Armfield kick 10 goals. We actually haven't had a small forward.
It's
That's
fascinating.
Fisher.
It's fascinating as well because I watched an interview the other day, a couple of weeks ago. It came up on my feed. It was Tyson Stengel, and you remember the year they won the flag and he went off.
Yeah,
and he was like, they were asking him like, what was it? Was it the Geelong coaching? And like, he was really honest, and he was like, it's not much different to Adelaide, but he was like, when you're playing on the feet of Jeremy Cameron and Tom Hawkins, who were 2 of the best key forwards in the competition, my job's really easy because of the attention they draw. And it made me think, Harry and Charlie, like, not bigging them up, but they could be in the conversation of Tom Hawkins and Jeremy Cameron. So if you've got a small forward telling you it's easy, why is it not?
Well, if we gave Eddie Betts a coaching job, Tyson Stengel would be playing for us right now, but we didn't, and he didn't. So should we pick this team?
I remember suggesting that. I remember suggesting that on Blue Abroad, and people going mental because he had like a drug offence. Do you remember?
Yep.
He was pretty keen on Isaac Rankin as well, Eddie Betts. Bringing him to Carlton, teaching him. That would have been all right.
You know what, actually, Isaac Rankin.
Would have been Eddie.
Who's the next one, Eddie? Please let us know.
Yeah, let us know.
I wonder, just before we pick this team, can someone more intelligent than me answer, why have we never, ever had a dedicated small forwards coach? Am I being too simplistic?
Come home, Eddie. You know you want to.
Don't know, mate. Don't know.
Mm.
Anyway, you've
'Cause that's my
suppressed me
big
'cause I've been
bugbear
looking
with
at all these
Motlop.
small forward numbers.
No, but that's like my big bugbear with Motlop and co. Like, who are they learning off? Like, when they came and were drafted, the most senior small forward was a basketballer, Matt Owes, who was learning the game.
It's
A man
Fantasia
named
now, isn't it?
Bowler did put his hand up and say, "Hey, Harry, how about I come down and give you a few pointers?" And he went, "Nah, should be right, mate."
You would have just thought, like if I was the coach and I had this list, I would have been like, get me anyone.
Mm.
Like, get me anyone who has played small forward in the last decade who has kicked more than 20 goals a year to help develop these boys. Oh, God. Came here to be cheered up, and I'm going to leave fucking sad. Right. All right, let's go. Lekdog, give me, and chat, get ready for Backman, but Backman, let's save a Backman.
Okay, let's pick a backman, and I will just to try and fuck with everyone. I'm going to put Lewis Young back there because I'm going to assume Jay Sauce isn't playing. I'm trying to force my hand here.
Yep.
Lovely.
What's
Mr.
your hand?
Nick.
My hand has been forced.
I am going to say the General Waitering.
Mr. Ian.
Nick Haynes again. Run it back.
Beans, Hines. It's looking a bit slim.
We want a tall
Sad,
team,
right,
Pommy.
chat. We need a back pocket and a half back. You've got Akers, Ben Camporelli, Binns, Carroll, Chera, Chincotta, Cripps, Kerno, Doherty, Durden, Elijah, Evans, Fantasia, Fogarty, Hewitt, Jesus, Lucas Camporelli, Lord, McGovern, Mackay, Motlop, Ollie Hollins, O'Keefe, TDK, Walsh, White. Gov and Ollie. Tell you what, I like the way MDR's bringing up quality past players. Jameson, how good was Jamo?
Jamo.
You guys have this chat hated Ollie Hollins in defence 3 weeks ago. You guys have done a good job at convincing him.
Good chat, that's why. Look, good chat. Right, okay. Ollie Hollins
and Gov wins.
Beautiful.
Brett Thornton.
GWS great. Brett Thornton.
Fucking Jesus, that's another blast from the past. Okay, midfield. Lekdog.
I mean, this one kind of picks itself, doesn't it? I'll put Tom DeConning in.
A return for Mr. TDK after a larynx issue. Mr. Nick.
I got sold into the idea of Binns on the wing.
Yeah, after I picked TDK, I was like, "Fuck! I hope someone picks Binns."
Hey, got your leg, dog.
Thank you, mate.
I love that, Mr. Ian.
Blake Akers on the other wing.
Oh, okay.
Was that a dislocation? Was it?
I think so.
Great question.
I think it popped in and out, didn't it?
Because he seems to do that like every week, doesn't he?
Yeah, and didn't someone from the Saints that he was mates with pop it back in for him? Pretty sure I heard that.
I think he might have been making a joke about him getting hip and shouldered while it was out, to be honest.
There you go.
It would be the most Carlton thing that he was out because he didn't go and see medical help and he just got some bloke off the street to put it back in. But do you know what I mean? Let's have a look. Where are we going? You know what? I'm going to save. You know what? Very unjust article this week about Patrick Cripps. I thought that was grossly unfair about how he is, about how he's played this year. I thought that was a cheap shot article about Patrick Cripps. So I'm going to save him. So chat, we need 2 midfielders. Both of them followers. So we need, you've either got Ben Camporelli, Lucas Camporelli, Carroll, Chera, Chincotta, Kerno, Doherty, Durden, Elijah Hollins, Evans, Fantasia, Fogarty, Hewitt, Jesus, Lord, Mackay, Motlop, O'Keefe, Walsh, or Wheat. Big White. Unrelated, but do you think you will make a preview to our NGAs? 100% sure. I will definitely have all of our NGAs and stuff covered. We'll get out of the mid-season draft period, and then we'll move on to exciting stuff. Hopefully the draft isn't important this year, but I fear it may be. Looks like Chera and Hewitt. You know what? Bevton's the only one to say of Walsh, but I have noticed the last couple of weeks, chat, Walsh ain't getting the love that he used to have.
It always falls to me to put him in a fucking forward pocket or something.
Might do. Well, there we are. Okay, forwards, where the game is won. Letdog.
Do I take the easy street and just pick one of the big boys? I'm going to pick Corey Durden.
Mr. Durden in the team. Mr. Nick.
Going to back Lige. He's going to bring out his best at Marvel. Do it, Lige.
Nice.
Lidge is back in. Right. Mr. Ian.
I'll do it for you, Lekdog. Sammy Walsh on the half-forward line. Thank you.
Ooh,
Thanks,
a positional change. I love it.
Come on. This is a Vossi team selection. He's not playing a second there.
There we are. Look, I'm going to save Kerno just because Ian threatened.
This is
Threatened to drop him. Chat, I need 2 forwards from you. We need a full forward and a pocket. You got Ben Camporelli,
the backup rucky here, chat. Not to put any pressure on you.
Doc, Evans, Fantasia, Fogarty, Jesus, Lucas, Lord, Mackay, Motlop, O'Keefe, and White.
See, I'll tell you what, if Vossi had chucked Walshy on a half-forward line at any stage during the Sydney game, he might have broke a tag.
No, just let him work through it on his own, mate.
Still,
that was a bizarre bit of coaching that last week.
Try something, please. I dare you.
He felt, you know what he felt like to me, and I said it in my review, felt like Voss was almost sending a message to him.
Is the message, I don't know what I'm doing?
No, but he felt like it was like one of them like real hard love things of you will work it out yourself.
It's a strange one.
Well, Mackay's definitely in, and it looks
sense.
like
Fogg getting heaps of love there.
Fogg's getting a lot of love.
Albert wanted Harry out of the team. He's gone O'Keefe and Foggs. Gee whiz.
Hey, look, if you don't have standards, you have nothing. You have nothing in this world. Okay, it looks like it's Foggs.
Shiny Blue says Hollands was pathetic last game. Not confident he can improve overnight. Well, good thing he's had 7 or 8 nights to improve.
I was thinking the same.
He was very down last week, but I mean,
he was.
He had a few mates. I've already lambasted him though, Shiny Blue. Don't worry, I already lambasted him in my in the ratings. So
just kick the ball slightly above ankle height.
To start.
Yeah, I was more annoyed he kept going sideways. Like you're playing the half forward conduit role, and you're not even getting the ball moving forward. Yeah. It felt very safe to him.
The ball.
Yeah, just kick the fucking thing. It's all right. It's not going to hurt you. Okay, so we need 5 on the bench. Let's start with you, Mr. Letdog. Who's your first bench guy?
The rising star, Mr. Lord, who, again, I just don't know what his long-term role ends up being, but geez, do you want him in your team?
It's one of them, isn't it, where you just feel like it's one of them where you just feel, don't you?
Yeah, the biggest fear for him is that this is his ceiling because we never actually lock him down on what he's supposed to be doing.
It feels like there's nowhere for him to go. I think that's my thing. I can't
Spot.
see Voss ever dropping Cheryl Shewitt to give him the full-time minutes.
No, but our next coach might.
You never know. Mr. Nick?
It's getting tricky here, isn't it?
It's tough, isn't it?
I'm going to say Doherty.
Doc returns.
It does feel like kind of sadly the safest option there, doesn't it?
It really does.
The other thing about Doherty, I always feel like, that no one wants him in the team, but he's the first person that everyone starts calling for when he's not in the team. It's like something that you can't
get him out. He's had 40 touches. Get him in.
Do you know what I mean? It's one of them ones, isn't it?
He's been one of our favourites for many, many years, and it's hard not to love him.
I'm loving him in VFL, though. I just think that's what we should have done a long time ago.
It's picked their spirit up, isn't it? They're playing with some flair now and looking like a football team.
Do you know what I mean?
You can now see why they're talking about us going for Bergman with Sard, aging and Doherty probably not playing. And all of a sudden it's like, fuck, we had 12 halfbacks and now we actually don't.
Yeah.
Zach Williams now forward and injured.
Nick Newman's not getting any younger either. Nick Newman's,
it's
a very big talent, but how many more years?
Ian, bench.
Yeah, this is gross. I liked when we kept talking and I didn't have to make a decision. Matt Carroll.
I hope he doesn't get dropped this week. I hope he doesn't.
There's a coward's answer here, Pom, which then leaves it to chat, or you can be the hero that we deserve.
You know what? I'm just going to put that. Obviously, JSOS would be there, so I'm not going to cheat and put JSOS.
We love you, Jack.
I genuinely don't know. There's players I want in, but then there's players that I don't want in. You know what?
Matt Gandolfo's asked me if I was picking the next coach, would I go Simpson or Longmire if they wanted to? I mean, honestly, I my favourite option out there is Bucks, but Simpson coached a premiership, but then coached a basket case of a rebuild, which is potentially the future we're looking at. Longmire, does he give a shit? It's a tough one. It really depends more on the list than what we decide to do with the list than anything, I think.
Here we are. So, chat, you've got one more spot. Ben Camporelli, Chincotta, Evans, Fantasia, JSOS, Lucas, O'Keefe, and White.
I will be disregarding all votes for JSOS. We're assuming he's unavailable. Motlop was the coward answer, by the way, Pom, so you picked correctly.
Do you know what I mean? I was... Look, it was tough. I didn't even know who... It was so hard to pick.
The other thing is, if this is the sub or if it's just the end of the bench, because the sub, it's like none of these are super enticing as the sub, but then you look at the bench and you're like, well, neither are they, to be honest.
LS, you need touches to record disposal efficiency. So I reckon you might get a hyphen.
Yes. The Mats have been backing me up tonight. I'm into it today. I'm into it.
So what's that? 3 for Pom Cotter, 2 for Hudson, 2 White, 2.
Next one could decide it.
I'll love a bit of this there. Look, Evans, brilliant.
It's the lol at the end that makes it funny.
No, serious.
Razzle dazzle. We can't make a decision. Gee whiz. This must be what it's like in the rooms in the selection panel every week.
I mean, this is tough. Just chat.
We're literally getting everyone just going, nah, give us some more options.
Do we have to spin a wheel? Is that what it comes down to at this stage?
Spin a wheel.
God, chat, you're better than this.
That'd be fun.
Someone's
Imagine
gotta
they
give
did
us the
that.
breakup.
Like they actually do it live with the players and they get a wheel. Like, we can't pick the sub this week. Here's 10 of yous. One of you are playing this week. Let's go.
You know what?
That's how we landed with TDK as sub in the final. Duffy, man, the chat's trolling us. I think we're going to have to pick guys.
There we are.
There we go. Oh, we've had a break. We've had a tie break.
Sub Cotter.
Oh, wait.
Oh.
It's going to be white.
Oh, what? At the last minute.
There we are. So we've got the team. So that would mean by process of elimination, 4 players come out. So that would be Evans, Jesus, Boyd, and Pitternet out for Doherty, TDK, Fogarty, and Akers. I actually don't think that will be far off the team.
I think the only potential difference is if Akers or Fogarty don't get up, and we play Pitto as well.
I think that is a good job from chat. Leg Dog, what are you doing for the rest of this week? I will drop your socials in there. Let us know what you're doing if they come and see you on Twitter.
Probably outward facing, public facing, probably just an article on Code Sports for Supercoach. When the bye weeks come, which is starting not this week, but next week, I might do a few extra pieces for them. But that's pretty much it. Keep an eye on the Falcon, a footy podcast. I'm going to be on there for a few episodes, or at least one episode over the next few weeks. So that's a kind of a comedy shit talk of footy, and it talks very little about football itself. Yeah, Falcon, a footy podcast.
Mate, make sure you go and follow our beautiful Let Dog. Good man, always good entertainment. Ian, if the legends of chat head on over to Navy Blue Corner, you've just recorded something. What have you recorded?
Yes, well, out already that we recorded on Sunday is the Sydney review. So if you do want our thoughts on the match that has already happened, you can listen to it now everywhere. And at that link, Pommy has chucked in the chat. And then, yes, we'll be doing a GWS preview show, which we talk a little bit more, I think, holistically about the rest of the season, more than we do with the game itself, because talking about actual footy kind of sucks. So we've tried to go a little bit more into the future with Carlton. So that'll be out first thing tomorrow morning, which will be lovely.
Love it. Love it. And Mr. Nick, Horizon Finance, if they go over to this link here, check out your Instagram. Not only will they get the best adverts in the world, what else would they get?
I want to talk about a little case study that happened this week. It was actually somebody who watches my TikToks reached out to me. He'd gone to buy a car. He was going from bank to bank looking for a place to get his loan approved. Thought he had it all approved. They asked for his bank statements. The bank found some conduct that they weren't happy with, some withdrawals of cash. So a little bit of sports betting on the Blues and not winning and losing money. So they declined his loan. If it was to be approved, it was going to be approved at something like 13, 14%. He was happy with that. So he reached out and I did a credit check, soft check first, researched over 40 different lenders. I have him approved as of today at an interest rate of 8.9%. He is ecstatic. Wow. But it's just important that people think, your major four are the best way to go. It's not always the case. And just because you're using a broker, it doesn't mean you're going to get some second-tier stuff. I've got prime space lenders on my panel, and I will do my best for everybody. So if everyone's a bit unsure where to go and a little bit time poor, and I can help them with that and give them the right guidance and get them a fair interest rate, sing out to me because I won't do you wrong.
Make sure you go and see him. Good mate of mine is Nick, and I can assure you he's an honest and good value as well. Good for a chat is old Nick as well. Good for a natter chin wagging who'll look after you. What have I got on the rest of this week, aside from trying not to die? I'll have the preview up probably Thursday, Friday. There is Carlton's mid-season draft preview. There is a mid-season draft, mock draft coming up this week. We're live 3 times this week. Games to be announced. One of them will be the Carlton game. One of them will be the Dream Time at the G, because that's too good to miss. I don't know what I'll do with the other one. It will either be tomorrow night or later in the week when my voice isn't dying. Other than that, thank you very much for hanging, chat. Love you as always. Make sure you
just take a night off. Just have a nap.
Go to bed, Carlton.
And we will see you all next week. Look after yourselves. Go Blues.
Let's go, Blues.
Go Blues.
See you guys.